This is the story of Rapunzel. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a humble couple who longed for a child. They had almost given up hope when, at last, the wife became pregnant.
Honey, I think we're expecting a baby.
They were overjoyed and began to prepare for the arrival of their baby. Their small cottage was surrounded by a beautiful garden, full of flowers and herbs. But beyond it was an even more magnificent garden filled with the freshest vegetables, owned by a wicked witch named Gothel.
I put a spell on the vegetables I grow. The more people look at them, the more they want to eat them.
The wife would often look out of her window, admiring the lush greenery of Gothel's garden. One day, she noticed a patch of vibrant green Rapunzel leaves that looked so fresh and inviting. As the days passed, she found herself craving the Rapunzel more and more until it was all she could think about. She became pale and weak, and her husband grew worried.
If I don't have some of that Rapunzel, I feel I shall surely die.
Don't worry, honey, I'll get it for you. Whatever it takes.
The husband was troubled by her words. He loved his wife dearly and couldn't bear to see her suffer. But he knew the Rapunzel grew in the witch's garden, and the witch was known for her cruelty. However, desperate to save his wife, he decided to sneak into the garden under the cover of darkness. That night, the husband carefully made his way through the witch's garden. The moonlight illuminated the Rapunzel, and he quickly picked a handful of the fresh greens. He rushed back home and gave the Rapunzel to his wife.
Honey, I've got it here. Go ahead and eat it now.
She immediately felt better after eating the Rapunzel, and her cheeks regained their rosy color. But the very next day, her craving returned even stronger. She begged her husband to go back and get more.
Honey, I'm really craving some Rapunzel.
Though he feared the witch's wrath, he loved his wife too much to refuse. So, once again, he sneaked into the witch's garden at night to gather more Rapunzel. Just as he was about to leave, a shadow loomed over him, and he felt a cold hand on his shoulder. He turned and found himself face to face with the witch, her eyes burning with anger.
How dare you steal from my garden? You shall pay dearly for this trespass.
Please have mercy. I just need a handful of Rapunzel for my pregnant wife. She craved your Rapunzel so much that I had no choice.
The witch's gaze softened slightly at the mention of the unborn child, but her face remained stern.
Very well. I will let you take as much Rapunzel as you need, but in return, you must give me the child your wife is carrying. She will be well cared for and want for nothing, but she will belong to me.
The man was horrified at the witch's demand, but he was too frightened to refuse. He reluctantly agreed, thinking he might find a way to save the child later. A few months after the incident, a beautiful baby girl was born. She had golden hair that shone like the sun. The couple had barely had time to hold their precious daughter before the witch appeared, as she had promised. The witch took the child away and named her Rapunzel after the plant her mother had craved.
Your mother ate the Rapunzel plant before giving birth to you. From now on, your name will be Rapunzel. I'll cast a magic spell on your hair. Whenever I feel weak, I'll touch it to restore my power. You'll stay here, alone, just for me.
She raised Rapunzel in a tall, secluded tower deep in the forest, locking the door so she couldn't leave. The witch was the only one who ever visited Rapunzel. Rapunzel grew up in the tower, unaware of the world beyond her small window. She spent her days singing, reading, and gazing out at the distant horizon. Her only companion was the witch, who visited her regularly, bringing her food and speaking of the dangers of the outside world.
The world is a cruel and dangerous place, Rapunzel. You are safe here, away from the wickedness of people who would do you harm.
Rapunzel believed the witch's words, but she couldn't help feeling a deep longing for the world outside. She wondered what it would be like to walk in the forest, feel the grass beneath her feet, and meet other people. She often sang her thoughts out loud, her voice carrying through the trees.
In the forest by the stream, soft whispers in the air, birds sing our sweet dream, love blooming everywhere, moonlight.
One day, as fate would have it, a young prince was riding through the forest. He had become lost while hunting and was trying to find his way back to the castle. Suddenly, he heard a sweet, melodious voice singing from above.
Whisper my name in the pine, feel our love understood.
The prince was captivated by the voice and followed the sound until he came to the base of Rapunzel's tower. The prince looked up and saw the small window high above, but he could see no way to reach it. Still, he was enchanted by the voice and returned to the tower day after day, hoping to catch a glimpse of the singer. Then, one day, as he hid behind a tree, he saw the witch approach the tower.
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let down your hair!
The prince watched in amazement as a long golden braid was lowered from the window. The witch climbed up the braid and disappeared into the tower. The prince now knew how to reach the beautiful singer and decided to try it himself once the witch was gone. That evening, after the witch had left, the prince stood at the base of the tower and called out softly,
"Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair."
To his delight, the golden braid was lowered, and he climbed up. When he reached the top, he found himself face to face with the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. Rapunzel was startled to see a stranger, but the prince spoke kindly to her.
"Don't be afraid, I heard your singing and was drawn to your voice. I had to meet you. I promise I mean you no harm."
Rapunzel had never met anyone besides the witch, but the prince's kind words and warm smile reassured her. They sat and talked for hours, sharing stories of their lives. The prince told Rapunzel about the world beyond the tower, describing the forests, rivers, and villages he had seen. As the days turned into weeks, the prince continued to visit Rapunzel each evening. They grew closer with each visit, and soon they fell deeply in love. Rapunzel began to dream of leaving the tower and exploring the world with the prince by her side. But their happiness was short-lived. One day, Rapunzel, who was now deeply in love, spoke absent-mindedly to the witch, asking her a question that would change everything.
Mother Gothel, why is it easier to pull the prince up the tower than you?
The witch froze, her eyes narrowing as she realized she had been betrayed. Her anger was swift and terrible.
What did you say? You deceitful girl, how dare you betray me?
In a fit of anger, the witch snatched a pair of scissors and cut off Rapunzel's long golden hair. Then, with her magic, she banished Rapunzel to a faraway, desolate land.
Rapunzel, get lost in the faraway, dark forest.
Please, I promise, I'll never let the princess...
That evening, when the prince arrived and called for Rapunzel, the witch lowered the cut hair down. The prince climbed up eagerly, expecting to see Rapunzel, but instead, he found the witch waiting for him.
You will never see Rapunzel again. Her voice filled with malice. She is gone. And you will be too.
The witch let go of the hair the prince was holding, and he tumbled into the thorn bushes below, badly hurting his eyes. As soon as the prince regained his senses, he heard the witch's scream echo through the air.
Find Rapunzel on your own, without any help. Only her true love can heal your eyes.
The prince couldn't return to his kingdom. He wanted to find Rapunzel and discover if her love was truly strong enough. After wandering through the forest for many months, he grew so tired that he collapsed. Just then, he heard a soft, distant singing. The prince followed the voice, and it led him to a small cabin, where he found Rapunzel at last. Rapunzel was overjoyed to see him. But when she saw his injured eyes, she wept.
What happened to your eyes?
Rapunzel cried and cried. As her tears soaked the prince's coat, a miracle happened. The witch's spell was broken and the prince could see again. Filled with joy, the prince felt the depth of true love when he saw the sincerity in Rapunzel's concern.
Rapunzel, will you marry me?
Rapunzel, her heart full of love, happily said yes. The two returned to the kingdom, where news of Rapunzel's return spread quickly. When her parents heard, they rushed to embrace her, overjoyed to be reunited after so many years apart. The kingdom celebrated her return, and a grand wedding was arranged for Rapunzel and the prince. From that day forward, the prince and Rapunzel ruled the kingdom together. Their hearts filled with joy and gratitude, and they lived happily ever after. Thanks for watching, friends. Please click like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.